Welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I'm Charlie Caleri alongside
Gavin Williams and
Ian Kennedy.
Wow, the Colts correspondent is back, ladies and gentlemen.
he's back.
We are back here.
How you doing,
fellas.
Ian?
I'm doing great. Thanks. Thank you, fellas, for having me on again. Excited to be back on. Excited.
Yes.
Excited to have you on anytime, Ian. We're going to talk about the Colts a little bit today, but we're going to talk about Week 5 as a whole.
Yeah.
And we missed our episode last week.
That's what I was about to get into. So I want to apologize to everybody. It was a busy week for the boys. To make it up to you guys, we got our Colts correspondent. As
Yep.
I know some of our
Little
listeners, some of our listeners really love this guy. So I
The
think
CFO
the CFO really
and the president.
and the exec pro, the
Whatever the
prez,
titles are
whatever
now.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I'm a fan favorite over
You are a
here.
fan favorite, yeah.
of the
Well,
show.
thanks. Thanks for everybody who loves me. I don't know.
Week 5 was great. Week 4 was great as well.
Yeah.
We just had to figure out some housing stuff, figure out where we're living next year, but
Yeah,
we got it all figured
big
out now.
stressful week, but we got it.
Got it all figured out
We're
now.
locked down now.
And let's get into it. So starting last week
Yeah.
on Thursday, what a game that was.
Is it crazy to say that this is already a game of the week?
No.
I think there's 2 games for the week, and I'd say they're co-owners,
Okay.
or co-games of the
Co-owners.
weeks. So this is one of them. The
All
other
right.
one we'll get into it a little later. But what hell of a game. Usually Thursday night, past couple of years have been awful. This is exactly what you want on a Thursday night. It's something that will keep you up. I didn't want to fall asleep during this one. This was not a snooze fest. This was a back and forth battle. It was electric. Let's think about some names, especially Kirk Cousins. He threw 42 passes, 509 yards, which is now the new franchise record for the Falcons. 4 touchdowns, interception. Don't care about that interception because he got the whole crowd swag and serve, swag and
And it was
serve.
pretty cool.
And it was really awesome. It was really awesome. Bijan Robinson didn't have himself a night. Only 61 yards, but Drake London came up big, 154 yards off 12 grabs, touchdown for the kid.
Yeah, and on the flip side for the Bucs here, losing a tough divisional game, obviously. But how is this guy Baker Mayfield? He threw 3 touchdowns on 180 yards passing.
That was like the biggest thing because I started him in fantasy this week,
Yeah.
and I'm praying for a big week. Still got me 23 points. And I'm like, how did he get 23 points with only 180 yards? Because he throws three apples down the sideline. He's good.
He's been unreal. And what's crazy about this game is that it felt like the Bucs were in control for most of this game, and then the Falcons later in the game, obviously with that coup, 52-yarder right as time was expiring to tie the game, and then that Kadarius Hodge touchdown right at the end obviously sealed it for the Falcons. But Ian, what'd you think about this game?
I got to give a special shout out to Darnell Mooney.
Okay,
He was
Darnell Mooney.
back when he was in Chicago, everybody was writing him off. Came to Atlanta, knew he was going to be the wide receiver too. Balled out, even though Drake London balled out too. Mooney had 9 receptions for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Could have had 3 too. I think he dropped a touchdown in fourth quarter, I think.
Oh, you dropped a first down.
First
ball.
down.
Dropped the first
It was a
down,
big
yeah.
play though. I think it was
Yeah.
20-yard play or something.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was a long one.
So he still could have added to his yards and receptions. He could have been a double-digit reception guy. So great game from the Falcons overall.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're gonna move on to the London game real quick. So
And let me just say one thing. I saw this video yesterday, and I think this is really cool. But this guy went around and he found a jersey of every team
yeah,
at the London game, and I just think those videos every year are pretty cool. Seeing like how the London fans, even though that they don't have a team necessarily, maybe they're Jags fans. I don't really know,
I
but
saw a lot of green and gold in those stands. That's what I saw.
it's a pretty popular team. It's a pretty popular team. I saw an Allen jersey over there. I saw an Allen jersey over there. I saw a Quentin Nelson jersey over there.
Yeah,
That's what I
big
saw.
Q.
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers and the Jets technically visited the Vikings in London, and this was not a great game to watch. I'm glad that it was the first game on the Sunday slate because I would have not watched this if it was a 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock game. So A-Rod, my guy, he only completed 29 out of 54 passes. That's not an A-Rod stat right there. That's not. 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Inexcusable from a vet.
Yeah, and that's not an A-Rod stat line,
No.
like you said. That's more like a I don't even
That's
know.
Zach Wilson.
Zach
stat
Wilson,
line.
Drew Lock,
Yeah.
stat line. Sam Howell. That's a Sam
That's a
Howell.
Sam Howell.
That's a
That is
Sam
a
Howell.
Sam Howell.
That's a
Tier
Sam
one-
Howell.
Tier 1
Tier
guy last
1
year.
guy last year. Sam Howell.
Fortunately, backing up Geno Smith now.
Yeah, but like you said, this game was not great. It was a close game, but it wasn't. The score was close. Sorry, but the game itself didn't feel close.
No.
But let's just talk about the Jets now. Everything that they've got going on, everything that came out yesterday. What do you guys think about the whole Robert Saleh situation?
Yeah, I'll let you tap in on this first.
I actually kind of like it. I mean, I don't understand why they made their defense coordinator their head coach, because I feel like they need a more of an offensive-minded head coach, because A-Rod is clearly struggling. I mean, they were struggling giving the ball to Wilson, but now he just had 22 targets. So, I mean, good props
He
for
played
them.
good in this game, too.
He did. I actually watched this whole game, had a 3-hour drive back home, tossed the game right next to me and watched the whole game. So, I mean, overall, great game from the Vikings. Great first half from the Vikings,
Yeah.
actually.
Right.
Second half, they did not show up. Jets kind of showed up in the second half. Couldn't get the job done.
Sam Darnold looked like his Jet self on that day.
Yeah. He gave Saleh his first loss as a Jets coach with the Panthers, and then his last loss as a Jets head coach with the Vikings. So he started and ended Saleh's tenure just like the Jets did to him.
Yeah, I'll get into-
Sauce going out in this game as well.
Yeah, that's
With
a
an
big
injury,
blow.
which is huge for them. But yeah, like you said, Ian, I feel like bringing in their defensive coordinator as their head coach now. What is it, Greg Ulbrich?
I think so.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a good defensive coordinator. I don't know how good of a head coach he is. Obviously, his experience in the league. But yeah, with Garrett Wilson struggling so far this year, Rodgers struggling, and especially Breece Hall struggling this year
He's really
in the
struggling.
backfield. I think they do need an offensive guy to step in there. I don't know if they have that guy now. Maybe that's why they didn't move their offensive coordinator to head coach now. Maybe they just don't feel comfortable. But like, I agree with you. I think they need an offensive approach, especially when you have Aaron Rodgers on your team,
So,
because he's not going to be on the team very long.
No, he's not. I mean, a lot of people are already saying this is his last year or next year, but a lot of people think this year. But with the specific firing of Robert Saleh, I'm not totally on board with it. Because this is what I think. You got a divisional opponent this week. You at least hold out one more week. Especially if you have a defensive-minded head coach, you need to lock in for a game, especially like a quarterback like Josh Allen, because he's hard to lock down in general. And Robert Saleh is a defensive specialist. I mean, that's all he knows. So, especially now that they brought the defense coordinator to head coach, I also don't agree. And I know you guys are probably going to bombard me right here, but I'm just biased. You got Nathaniel Hackett over there, and Aaron Rodgers has a lot of history with this offensive coordinator. All the way dates back to Green Bay. Nathaniel Hackett went to the Broncos, SHIT'd the bed in Denver, goes to New Jersey, and they're not looking good. And that's why a lot of people say, well, that's why they didn't give him the role, because the offense has been so bad. But honestly, I think that might have helped, because A-Rod specifically, especially in Green Bay and now with the Jets, he knows how to get his way. So that's why I'm really surprised that Nathaniel Hackett's not the head coach right now, because he is one to be a diva when it comes to not getting his way, especially with receivers back in Green Bay, like when they lost Jay Kumaro to the Bills. He wanted that guy to stay on the team.
He was low-key a dog on the Bills.
He was a dog on the Packers. So that's one thing that like A-Rod gets pissed about, is when things don't go his way. That's why I'm surprised. But it's too bad he had to get fired. I really like Robert Saleh, so it happens.
I obviously it's tough, and we were talking with our friend Chris Hurley,
Our Jets correspondent,
who he said he thinks that in his exact words, he goes, the quarterback got him fired.
Yeah.
And what's crazy to me is, I know Aaron Rodgers has a lot of power, but I always say if a guy has more tenure than you with the team, I think he should have the power in that situation. And I think Saleh, especially being in a higher power position with the team and being there longer, should have probably been the one to stay. I'm not saying Rodgers should have been released or anything or traded or anything, but I don't think that Rodgers should have been the one to be able to make that decision if he was the one to make that decision.
The guy also got escorted out the building.
Yeah, he didn't get to say goodbye.
That's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah, I don't really
That's
understand
terrible.
that.
I mean, you build a relationship with these guys. You're with them every day, and you don't get to say goodbye to them.
It's
I mean,
unreal.
you can just text them, It's just tough. You don't like seeing anybody get fired, but especially a likable guy like Saleh.
He's
who,
such a likable guy.
like you were talking about. He's done a pretty good job of locking down the other AFC East teams, especially Josh Allen, which is a tough thing to do, and what the Dolphins haven't been able to figure out, and the Patriots, for the most part, haven't been able to figure out in the last few years. So, but the Jets in the Saleh era have been able to figure out Allen's offense and been able to stop him, especially running. So that's been huge. But enough about the Jets here. It's enough Jets talk for the week. Let's move on to a game that I won't be talking about for very long, but it's a very interesting game. It was the Bears beating up on the Carolina Panthers 36-10 in Chicago. And you're saying, why is this game interesting? It was the storylines that happened within this game. It was DJ Moore playing against his former team.
And balling.
It was Bryce Young. He did get in the game at the end. It was Bryce Young sitting on the bench against the team that essentially traded him away. Caleb Williams playing against, quote, his former team, I guess, if you really want to get technical with it, I guess, with that trade. But all revolves around that DJ Moore trade, who showed why the Bears went out to go get him this week. He had 5 receptions for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had that 34-yard reception also within the game. Caleb Williams, though, this was the coming out party for him. This was the game where he proved that he is a star NFL quarterback. Threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I don't know, he just looked really good. He looked like he was the number 1 overall pick. Did you guys watch any of this game?
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
I want a huge shout out to DeAndre Swift. A couple weeks ago, he was not playing well. I mean, I cut him off. I was like, I had him in one of my leagues in fantasy. And I was
Did you
looking to
write
trade.
him off?
I was planning. But last week, DeAndre Swift had 93 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown, and then 7 receptions for 72 yards last week. And this week, he had around somewhat the same. I think he had like 40-something receiving yards. And
Swift?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 47 receiving yards, but he had that 42-yard catch within that.
And then 72 rushing yards and a touchdown. So Swift has been playing good for them.
And then Roschon Johnson, also the backup there, he had 2 touchdowns of his own. He's more that power back, goal line guy, but Swift, I mean, it's a great duo they got there.
Yeah, it is. And Chicago's looking good.
They're
coming alive. I mean,
3-2 now.
NFC North is the only division with all 4 teams
It's the
above
hardest
500.
division in football.
Yep, 5-0 Vikings, 4-1 Lions, and then 3-2 Packers and Bears. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty
That
impressive
division-
stuff from that division.
That division's tough.
It's the toughest division in football currently.
Right now, for 100%.
I agree.
100%, Gav.
I think they're 14-5 right now.
That
Combined
math does
teams.
add up.
Moving on to a weird matchup. The Cleveland Browns visited the Washington Commanders, and let's just say Jane Daniels looks like the true prize pick of this draft right now. He's kind of looking just like the C.J. Stroud of last year.
Yeah, Stroud, yeah.
So 14 for 25, 238 yards, touchdown, little interception. Doesn't really matter when they blow them out 34-13 against that defense. Come on. Just want to say,
I don't even know it. I don't even know anymore.
I don't
Honestly,
know.
we keep talking about this Browns defense, but they are just not good, man.
And
They're just not good.
Yeah.
This team is god awful.
And Jane Daniels knows how to get it done both ways. 82 yards rushing. He was the leading rusher. He found his guy, though. He's found his guy. Terry McLaurin. He's found him. 4 receptions, 112 yards. Going on to the Browns side now, though. It's time to bench Deshaun Watson. He is nothing but hot garbage. He is a bottom 5 quarterback in the league. I'm saying that right now.
Could not agree more.
Could not agree.
He is hot effing garbage.
Yep.
Yeah, he's terrible.
And you got a guy back there, Jameis Winston.
Throw him in.
Who would do anything for any team he would be on.
He would want to
And-
eat those W's, man.
And he
wanna
would eat
them.
those W's.
Yeah.
And he would play hard for your team.
He would.
I mean, I think the guys would enjoy playing for him, too. And I think he would bring a new energy to
He's
this
more
team.
of a captain than Deshaun Watson is. Let's be honest.
Yeah, this Browns team is 1-4.
Yeah.
I
they
mean,
need to
in a
switch
tough
something up.
division where they haven't played any divisional games yet, it's only going to get harder from here, honestly, for them. They already blew some of the easy games that they've already played. This season looks to be kind of lost for the Cleveland
It
Browns.
is
I saw a
lost.
Browns fan commenting on their it was some post, and he was saying, "I can't believe I'm watching the Browns slip back into what I know them as."
Yep.
Which is crazy because I
20
didn't even think about that
Yeah.
because they are a relevant team now, but They used to just be.
They're
the Bra-
showing
they used to just be
flashes
the
of that
Browns.
0-16 from Hugh Jackson or
Deshaun Kaiser.
Deshaun Kaiser.
It was Hugh Jackson.
It was Hugh Jackson. Yeah.
Hugh Jackson.
Not much to say here. He doesn't know how to find Amari Cooper. He only had 4 receptions, 60 yards. It's kind of it. Bad game.
Doesn't
Good
know how
game
to
for
find
the
anybody.
Commanders, though.
No.
So now we'll move on to the next game.
Yeah, this one was the Dolphins at Patriots, and this was not a great game. If you watch this game, God bless you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
So I had to watch that game.
tough game.
Yeah, tough game to watch.
By the way, this game was 15-10 for the Dolphins, but for the Patriots here on the flip side, Jacoby Brissett, this might be his last game as a Patriot. I'll get to that in a few seconds, though.
That's crazy.
Dolphins got out to a rough start in this one. Tyler Huntley, I mean, there's not much you can really do with Tyler Huntley. He is a Pro Bowl quarterback, which is huge for him. But the way that Tyreek Hill's playing right now, the way that Jalen Waddle's playing right now, I know he's a little banged up. And Devon Achane as well, I know he's banged up as well. This team is just not healthy, just not good right now. Nobody's really playing well, not even the guys who are healthy. So getting this win is big for the Dolphins moving to 2-3, divisional win. But MVP of the game here for the Dolphins is definitely Jason Sanders, coming up with 9 of their 15 points. And then Alec Ingold was their lone touchdown scorer. So kind of just a weird game overall for the Dolphins, getting a 5-point win. But on the flip side for the Patriots here, we're going to be seeing Drake May in action next week, which is something that we kind of expected going into the season. Either he'd be sitting the first 4 to 6 weeks, somewhere in there, and he sat 5. Next week going in, who do they got next week? Who do the Patriots got
I think
next
they have
week?
the Texans.
That is right. They have the Texans. That's going to be a tough game.
That's a bad game to throw that kid
yeah.
into, man.
But at the same time, you got to throw him in at some point.
You gotta throw him in.
And if their plan was week 6, it's week 6, and that's the game on
They're
the
locking
schedule.
to it, and I
That's the game on the
respect that.
schedule. So I'm excited to see what Drake May can do, especially because these New England weapons have been pretty impressive, honestly, to start this year. Douglas has been pretty solid.
Polk's been really
Hunter
good.
Henry's been pretty solid. And yeah, Jalen Polk, the rookie, he's going to be a pretty good receiver.
Everybody
for
forgot
down
about
the
him
line.
from Washington because
Yeah.
Roma Dunze took his spotlight. That kid's special, man.
Yeah.
I like,
gotta point
I
that
like
out.
Jalen Paul.
And then
He's good.
obviously Stevenson back there, and then Antonio Gibson having kind of a career resurgence as this backup role in New England. Hopefully, he can get back because I like Antonio Gibson a lot.
Yeah.
I liked him at Washington with Heineke and McLaurin and Curtis Samuel and all those guys. But yeah, Dolphins get the win here, 15-10, big divisional win for them. Now they're tied up with the Jets,
Look at
but
that.
they're only a game behind the Bills.
Yeah.
So not a good feeling for me as a Bills fan. But moving on to a huge game now that I'm excited to hear your thoughts about this team season as a whole. It's the Colts game. Colts
Wow.
at Jags.
I mean, this is a tough one to talk about considering loss on a game-winning kick, as Charles knows too.
Yep, I do.
Pretty tough week for
Get there
Charles and
next.
I, both losing on game-winning kicks. But overall, I'm happy about a fight. We were down 34-20 with like 6 minutes left.
Yeah, I was watching that
And Alec Pierce, my guy. You know, I was our top 3 receivers were going to be Pittman, Downs, and I was back and forth between Mitchell and Pierce.
one too. Especially like last season, you were not the biggest fan of Pierce.
I was not. And, you know, Pierce, I love you, man. Like, you've gained all my respect. That one catch going up and grabbing it with the left hand,
That was
falling
tough.
down, catching it. I mean, Pierce, what a fourth quarter. And Joe Flacco, man.
He is a dog.
He's a good player. I mean, obviously, when
I think you
Richardson...
start him again next week.
I don't. Richardson's our quarterback. I understand Flacco plays great, but he's 39 years old. You're not gonna get him for another 1 year.
Hear me
So you
out
got-
though. I mean, you're putting up 34 points when I think the highest score you guys put up was like 20 against the Texans week 1 with the
No,
AR.
we put up like 27 against the Texans.
Yeah, but like you're still not clicking that 30 piece. But you know who gets that 30 piece nugget? Joe Flacco.
Also, I mean, Jags secondary is not great.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I mean, Richardson's only played like in his whole career. I think he's played like probably 25 games, counting college, NFL, and high school.
Mhm.
So you gotta
Wow.
give him. You gotta give him the extra reps. I mean, he needs it for sure. I mean, I don't care if he's overthrowing guys. I'm gonna be a Richardson believer all the way.
I love that.
How's that possible that a guy plays 25 games in his
Yeah,
top 5
the
pick?
third
in the
overall
NFL?
pick.
Like,
Fourth, but yeah, I don't understand.
like how is that possible? I like genuinely. Like, obviously he's got a lot of talent and he's a great quarterback.
I think it's
But
because how he performed at Florida, man.
There's
he was just
gotta
gone.
be other guys out there
Yeah, I really don't
who've
understand
played more.
that.
Like, I don't know.
Like
He's a
Stetson Bennett.
great quarterback. I don't know. He's a great quarterback though.
But I
Yeah.
mean, overall, tough game for us. We got a bounce back game. We're playing the Titans, so another divisional game.
Huge game.
Need this win because we're 0-2 in the division right now. But I mean, tough game. We got a lot of injuries. I mean, JT was out, so we couldn't really run the ball. Our whole defense is basically out. I mean, our defensive line, I think, our starters are all out except for Grover Stewart.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're banged up, but no excuses for that. Need a big win against the Titans.
Yeah, and
Hang on.
it would be a big win. It would move you guys to 3-3, and like you said, it moved you to 1-2 in the division, which is massive in that division especially.
I think you guys kind of need that. You can only afford to lose one more, and that's to the Texans.
Yeah,
You have to sweep the rest.
yeah.
And honestly, I mean, you shouldn't even really be thinking about winning the division. Just get in.
Just want to get in. 7th
Right,
seed.
right. Just yeah. I mean, if you get to that benchmark 11 wins, probably have a good shot. But you're gonna have to go on a little bit of a run here. I mean, honestly, this year it might be a little bit lower. It might be 10. The way
Yeah,
that some
I
of
mean,
these teams are playing.
Some of these teams are struggling. Like
Yeah.
Baltimore had that big win last week, but they've been struggling recently. And there's another big team. I mean, the Bengals are what 1-4.
Bengals are 1-4. Yeah, Browns are 1-4. Jags
lot
are
looking of it.
1-4.
lot different
Steelers
than
are not.
1-4
The
team, though.
Steelers hasn't been doing great since the 3-0 start.
You got to figure
Yeah.
the Broncos are gonna fall off a
Mhm.
little
Oh
bit.
yeah.
I mean, we have a big couple weeks. We have Titans and then we have the Dolphins. So those are easily 2 winnable games.
Those are 2 very winnable, but 2 games that could also go the other way.
Agreed.
So that's the slippery slope right there for the Colts. Could be 2-5 after these next 2 weeks. Could be 4-3.
Depends if Tua
Mhm.
gets back too. You never know.
Right.
I'm excited for that Dolphins game. Me and my brother are going to be
Right.
Oh yeah.
going at each other.
Speaking of coming up, probably the next time Ian will be on will be before the Bills Colts game
Oh.
in week 10. And we still got to get on these tickets a little bit, Ian.
Oh yeah, Mike and I are getting on the tickets actually
Oh,
today.
nice. But we're going to that game.
Yeah, totally.
A few of us, 4 Bills fans and 1 Colts fan. We're planning on going to that game. It should be a good time.
It's gonna be a fun time. I mean, it could be a rough time if the Colts lose, but
It might be, but it should be fun. We're going to take advantage of while we're in college, when both teams are playing. But for this Colts season now, you think playoffs is a great possibility, or
I mean, first of all, long season left. Long
Lot of
season.
right?
A lot of guys are on injury, so if we get those guys back during the right time, I think for sure. I think there's 100% playoff push. I mean, these next 2 games are very important for us. We're banged up on defense. Got to get our guys healthy. I mean, Buckner, I think what's got 2 or 3 weeks left on IR. Quiddy Pay should be back next week. Kenny Moore should be back next week, hopefully. Tough seeing Juju Brents out for season. That really hurts our secondary. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, Zaire is starting to be his old self. Didn't play too hot in those first 2 games, but starting to be his old self. Nick Cross, Maryland legend. I love that, man. Great tackler. Great. He picks off balls. Just an overall great
He's a great
safety.
player,
We
yeah.
need it. We need him for secondary.
You're forgetting one guy. E. You're forgetting one of the leading tacklers in the NFL, E.G. Speed.
EJ. EJ. What
He's been all
E.J.
right.
I always mess that up.
EJ is a dog. I mean, love that man. Great player. Him and Zaire, great
Great duo.
linebacker duo.
Great
I mean,
duo.
they just they're good tacklers. They don't do the the special plays, but they do the dirty plays.
EJ's been in the trenches, man. He's the second leading tackler in the NFL.
They get in the trenches, which partially because the running back gets through the D tackle or the D line. So
But at least you have someone to rely on.
yeah, we got 2 people to rely
Yep.
on. I mean, we're looking good as long as we can get our players healthy. We have to get JT healthy too, because if we have JT and AR healthy, everyone's worried about our running game. Without JT, they just worry about Flacco throwing. Or without AR, they worry about
Right.
Flacco throwing it.
Right.
And then, like you saw it in the second half of the. Oh my God, why am I blanking on what game that was?
Was the Packers game?
No.
That was a great game.
Who did we play last week?
You guys, last week,
The Steelers.
Oh
You
yeah,
guys played the
Steelers. Oh. Man, how can I forget about that?
Shout out Dylan.
Yeah, seriously.
Shout out Dill.
But
guy.
you saw it when Richardson was healthy, we were running the ball left and right on them. Either that's QB draws, read options, or just inside runs with JT. But once Richardson went out, I think JT had like maybe 20 yards for the rest of the game. So we got to get
It's a
ourselves
big
healthy.
different team.
It's a huge difference.
Tremendous.
It's a confidence boost too,
It
having
is.
those guys on the field.
But it's nice knowing that you can rely on your receivers when SHIT hits the fan.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Also, big losses. Prayers up, Will Fries. I think he broke his tibia. Had to get
Ooh,
had
That's a
to
tough one.
get surgery in Jacksonville. He's gonna be out for the season.
French
he
fries.
He was actually statistically our best offensive lineman on the team.
Oh, really?
Wow.
hmm
Wow.
Him and Quentin Nelson were like two of the leading guards in the NFL.
That
Wow.
stings.
That is a tough loss.
Shout out to
but
Fries.
Prayers
Hopefully
up.
you can get crispy.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on now to the
Oh, wait, the final score of that one was 37-34.
Yes, sorry.
Late comeback coming up short for the Colts.
Yep. And then another game which ended on a last-second field goal. Great football game if you're a neutral fan, but not a great game if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. Bills losing this one 23-20. And I'll let you guys talk about this one first before I get into it.
I was pretty excited for this game. I set a 8-leg parlay. My first ever parlay. It was really exciting. And I needed a Nico Collins touchdown. And when he got that touchdown, let me tell you, I was getting a little excited. I was pumping my fist. I know the two people listening right now.
I was not.
I know 4 people listening right now that probably want to pummel my brains down, but that was electric. You know, first ever parlay. Didn't hit, but in the moment.
Didn't even hit.
But in the moment, dude, that was electric. But
And you know what? I got part of me was a little happy for Nico. A little part of me. You know,
Michigan legend.
well,
But,
yeah, Michigan legend. But
I got a couple
this
things to say. about
67
this
yards was rough to see.
No,
Good.
yeah.
That was tough.
That was a deep
That was
ball.
the tough
Hey,
part.
how about 70 yards on the first play of the game in the supposedly playoff game last year when Nico Collins had a 70-yard touchdowns on the Colts?
yeah, that was
That was a rough play. I do not like Nico Collins.
So, yeah, I mean, this game, I enjoyed watching it from a fan perspective. I was really excited to see the Texans. I was excited to see if the Texans could hold against good teams. You know, because you need, as they were saying, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. You know, if you want to contend with the big dogs, you got to beat the big dogs. That's their first really big dog win of the season, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that was the one that they earned, that they're going to show everybody why they should be scared of them and why they're a legit threat to the AFC.
I have something. Everyone looks at this Texans offense and is like, oh, I mean, they're so great, which I do not disagree because their weapons are unbelievable. And CJ Stroud, as much as I don't like him, he's a great ball player. But people forget the fact that this defense is incredible.
Unreal.
They are.
Yeah.
They're
Will Anderson.
Especially Al-Shir.
Yes.
Aziz Al-Shir. That
Oh
guy,
my
I was
God.
going to mention him. He is unreal. He's
He is
unreal.
a great linebacker. And their run game is phenomenal. I don't know how I didn't watch much of this game because I was watching the Colts game, but
Which is crazy because they lost Jonathan Grenard after last year. I know they replaced him with Al-Shahir, but if they both of those guys, I mean, the run game would be insane there. Especially Will Anderson on the line.
they got guys in every position.
Right,
For
right.
secondary, they got Stingley, which is he's a baller.
Stingley's a beast, yeah.
Stingley's a beast.
I mean, Hunter and Will Anderson's a great 1-2.
Yep.
Will Anderson's a dog,
Yep.
dude.
And then the linebacker.
The front, yeah, their front four are good.
Yeah, I mean, the linebacking core, they tackle. I mean, I honestly think that defense is very slept on.
I agree.
And people
It
look at the
100%.
offense and they're like, wow. I mean, this team should be putting
They're a
up
flashy
30
team.
points.
They're a flashy team. It's kind of like they remind me a lot of that Bengals team that went to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, everybody was like,
Yeah.
you know, kind of everything was about Burrow and Jamar, and then you had guys in the defense like Cam Taylor-Britt and Trey Hendrickson, and,
Especially Trey.
Sam Hubbard.
and Sam Hubbard. And, yeah, you got all these guys in the deep. Logan Wilson that aren't getting their
Was
recognition.
Geno
that they
Atkins
deserve.
on this team?
Geno Atkins was not on that
They
team.
They had what? DJ
unfortunately.
Reader, right?
DJ Reader was there. Yeah, they had all the Jesse Bates was there. At
Jesse
the time.
Bates was there, yeah.
They had all these guys on the team that the offense was just overshadowing, and yeah, it's the same thing with this Texans team. They got all these
Eli
guys on
Apple
They
on
defense.
kind of
this
are
team?
similar teams.
I think Eli
It
Apple
was
was also
Eli.
on
That
this
was the
team.
Eli Apple year.
Also, one thing I need to to talk about is, Josh Allen, not the best game from him. But I feel like, with Shaquille out is very tough because I feel like Shaquille is kind of his go-to guy.
He's the safety net.
He is a safety net.
Yeah.
You know, put him in the slot, a little smaller guy. The slot guy is always a safety net. Besides the tight end.
Mhm.
But you look at it with Flacco. He has downs
Right.
way more of the time than
Right.
Pittman or other guys. So that slot guy
Sometimes
is
you
kind of
can't
just,
get it to the outside.
yeah, he's just kind of the safety guy. And Allen needs that with Shakir. Keon Coleman, congrats, first touchdown, I believe, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So
Or
congrats,
no,
Shakir.
second touchdown.
Second.
First away touchdown, I think.
That was electric. I was pumping for my MSU.
Let me
I was
get in here
pumping
about
for it.
Yeah,
Allen.
Charles.
Let me get in here about Allen real quick.
I also have something that
I 131 passing yards. 100 and I don't know, man. He needs to make better decisions. He needs to be smarter. This looked like 2019 Josh Allen playing out there, and that's not a compliment. We were 1 for 9 passing at one point. That cannot happen, especially in a playoff type atmosphere game, which now we lost the tiebreaker to these guys. Now we're 2 games behind them, so that definitely helps. And later in this game, the first half, whatever.
scratch it.
Yeah, scratch it. I knew we were going to battle back. Going down by 14 at the end of the half, especially them getting that field goal at the end of the half really hurt. Then they had the ball coming out of the half, score another field goal. They go up 20-3. I'm sitting here thinking, I still think we got a shot. We're down by 17, but I've seen crazier things with this team. Bills go down, score a touchdown. I'm thinking we're down by 10. I've seen this before. It happened in Baltimore a few years ago against Lamar. We were down late in the third, came back and won that game in the fourth. Texans punt. We score another touchdown. We're down by 3.
yeah.
Now it's just a game. Now it's just a football game.
Yeah, that was
Texans
electric.
punt, then we punt. Blow an opportunity there. Okay, whatever. Texans throw a pick on the next drive. What do? Punt.
Yeah.
Blow an opportunity there. Texans fumble. What do we
That-
do? We kick a field goal. We kick a
That should
field
have
goal.
been 7 though.
Tied the game. Should have been 7. You're right.
I think that was
You're
what,
right,
the
yeah.
13-yard line or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it
We
should've
had
been a
4
touchdown.
plays, 0 yards.
Yeah.
4 plays, 0 yards. Texans come back, 9 plays, 21 yards, 2 minutes. They punt as well. Give us the ball back in a spot where we did not think we would get the ball back.
Yeah.
Granted, it was on the 2-yard line.
Yeah, it was.
Which great punt by their punter to pin us back there. But calling 3 straight pass plays,
yeah.
3 straight pass plays
Just dig yourself in a hole you can't
on
get out
the
of.
2-yard line. I know they have three timeouts, but make them burn the timeouts and get some yards. Run it with Allen on first down for about 5 yards, and that alone should be enough to make you punt comfortably.
Give some more room
and
for Sam Martin.
Give some more room just for them to not kick a field goal. You had to give up yards there. You had to get yards there to not give up yards. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah,
you had
yeah.
to get yards there to not give up yards. And you punt that ball. They get a good return with
Yeah.
Robert Woods. That doesn't help. And there was not much time left on the clock there. They end up going down there, call timeout. Fairbairn runs out there. Honestly, I thought the kick was left.
I did too.
Yeah, I don't know
I did
how
too.
that
I
And,
turned
actually
and
in
did.
right.
honestly, I keep looking at this replay of this
It's
ball, and I would
crazy.
love somebody to tell me either in the comments or on our Instagram
At Out of Bounds podcast with a dot between every single word.
how that ball somehow defied the laws of physics and,
And there's
turned,
no wind in that
turned
place.
left and up and then back right.
Yeah. This place has no
Or no,
wind.
sorry, it was going down and to the left and then went back up and to the
Yeah.
right and went in and was perfect.
That's like
Perfect to
It's
the
just like
goalpost.
it's like a curveball 95 down the seam right there.
You're
guess.
just thinking the Texans have probably got a big fan on that side of the goalpost, just
Yeah.
waving the ball back in.
When I was watching the Colts game, I heard Charles. He was like, "How did that turn right?" And then I
How?
looked at the
Yeah.
replay and I was like,
No,
"Wait,
yeah, that
what?"
that was crazy.
Okay, so I was gonna scream during the kick, like
I
like
did.
He
I was
missed
like,
it.
that's what I said.
I was gonna
like,
scream.
Oh my God,
he missed it.
it.
And then I saw
Yeah.
it turn, and I'm like, okay, I thought it was gonna turn, and it was gonna hit the goalpost.
Yeah.
That's what me and our Bills correspondent Ryan Taylor. That's what he was saying. He was saying he thinks he was gonna hit the goalpost
Yep.
the whole time. And I was like, I thought so too, even though it turned back and it just kept going.
Yeah.
It just kept going back. I don't know. Kept going back, and that's just a frustrating game to lose. You lose 2 in a row, but I was saying this: you lose 1 in Baltimore, lose 1 in Houston. It's not the end of the world.
2 tough teams.
Not the end of the world.
2 tough places to play.
Yeah, especially because you got that big win in Miami.
Yeah.
and you pick up the other key wins against the Jags and Cardinals that you needed to get. But we got a huge game next Monday.
Big
Divisional game against a team who is kind of depleted right now.
They are. Gotta take advantage
in
of
their
that.
mentality and the way that they're playing. I mean, I don't know, 2-3 Jets team in Jet Life. It's going to be electric in there on Monday night, especially with the storyline with Rodgers and playing the
Yep.
Bills on Monday and everything. But
It is.
But Salah getting fired. But we're gonna have to lock in this week. McDermott's got to go back to the drawing board, and Joe Brady's got to go back to the drawing board. I need to see more out of Allen next week, which I know is saying a lot because we asked the dude to do a lot every week, but we need more.
Well, he's
we
a
need
top
more.
5 quarterback in the league. You have the ability to rip on him. If
Yeah.
he is a top 5
I
quarterback
know,
in
but
the league, he has to.
But
be
just
able to
like
take
I know
it.
he just does so much for this team, but somebody else needs to step up too. It's not just him. It's
Oh, I
somebody
know,
else needs
I
to
know.
step up receiving wise, and it probably needs to be Coleman, honestly. And I don't think anybody really has
He really needs to
the
step up.
cojones to really go up to him right now and tell him that he needs to step up. But somebody's got to go up to him and tell him you're our quote first round pick,
Yeah.
34th overall, basically first round pick. You need to act like it and play like it. So
I really think that Joe Brady needs to start making some plays for Kincaid.
I agree.
I
I
but,
mean,
but
everyone-
he's done a good. But Allen and Kincaid, they got their
Oh, they got.
connection
Oh, for sure. But
yeah.
I think
Use him like
Some-
Gronk.
what
Find a way.
Andy Reid does, he has specific plays to get Travis Kelce open. Like he has
That's the
probably
guy
he
that we
probably
need
has
to model.
8 to 10
Yeah, exactly.
go-to plays to get number 87 open. And I think that's what Joe Brady needs to do. He needs to have 8 to 10 go-to plays to get Kincaid open, get him the ball early so you could have a good game.
And you know what? That would have been really helpful on the 2-yard line.
It would have
You know, a
been.
little
Yeah.
little
Would've
dump
been.
pass to Kincaid.
He can do the rest. He can get through the line.
Yeah, I
matter.
mean, yeah, use him like Kelsey. Use Knox more like Gronk, I guess.
Yes,
agreed.
or like Mercedes Lewis, I guess. Keep him on the line.
Big dog.
Knox can be a
Big
red zone,
dog, my guy.
threat.
No, he is. He's a great player, and I love Knox.
Big dog.
Um,
Shout
So do
out.
I.
But-
Actually, met him this summer.
Did you
Big guy.
at
CCR?
CCR?
Yeah, had the Old Miss golf polo
There
on.
you go.
That's tough.
Shook his hand.
He's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Team West Her.
Team
Shout out-
West.
shout out to
Kincaid was
Dawson
actually going
Lawrence.
to be there too, but
Oh, was he?
couldn't make the trip.
Couldn't make it.
So I have this little funny little meme thing, but I have to read it out loud, just like how the emojis make it sound, because it's kind of funny. So Josh Allen made a statement to Stephon Diggs and the Texans in Houston. 9 for 30 passing. Woo! 30% completion percentage, worse in a game with 30-plus attempts in 30 years. Look at him. 131 passing yards. This guy's on fire. 4.4 yards per attempt. And he can get out there and 56.4 rating, man. That's not the response you need to Diggs, especially going in the locker room and he goes, you know how much this one meant to me. And like that just hurt a little bit.
Agreed, yeah. But one thing I got to say before I leave, Fairbairn, can you please miss a kick?
Dude, this guy's the leading scorer in Texans history.
I mean,
This guy's
every
unreal.
single time that kick goes up, whether it's from like 65 yards or 45 yards, that thing's dead nuts straight in the
Yeah,
freaking
Those
front.
Texas kickers, man. Those Dallas and Aubrey and,
Yeah,
and
Brandon Aubrey.
Fairbairn. I mean, those
Yeah.
two, they just make everything, man.
I think
Really
they
pisses me
got
off.
they got the Pro Bowlers on both sides of the kicking
100%,
spectrum.
just in
maybe.
Texas, yeah.
Just
Stay in
not
Texas.
not counting Mr. Tucker, but
Yeah,
like I'm never gonna
he's
forget
been
about
kind
that guy.
of struggling this year. Thank you, Ian.
Yeah, thank you, E.
Guys, thank you guys.
We will see you later. Moving on now to the Ravens at Bengals.
And this is my other game where I said game of the week.
yeah, it was a great game.
This game was unreal. And
Great
so
1:00 window this week.
I feel bad for one man on this planet right now, and it is Joe Burrow. Because this guy throws for 400 yards. He completes every pass but 9, and he has 5 touchdowns, and they lose the game. Chase Brown, not great, but it doesn't matter with the 400 yards that Joe Burrow threw. And Jamar Chase, 10 receptions, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. And we're forgetting about T. Higgins. He had a pair of touchdowns too. This is a great offense that is shadowed by their defense. I feel horrible for
Yep.
this team.
It's kind of like the opposite of what I was talking about with that old Bengals
Yeah.
team. It's a bad defense that is just ruining
the
an offensive
spectacular
an
offense.
offensive great season.
Joe
It's kind
Burrow,
of like a Big 12 team.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of like a Big 12 team because Joe Burrow is the leading touchdown
Those prime
passer.
Oklahoma teams would be proud.
Yeah, especially when the college
With
football
Baker,
playoff,
yeah.
But Joe Burrow is a leading touchdown passer in the league right now, and it's all getting shadowed. Like he's putting up some fucking good numbers, man. Like some MVP looking numbers, and it's not even gonna be looked at the end of the year because he's 1-4 right now.
Yep, I mean, unless they make a run, and obviously if they make a run, he's gonna be the leader of it, and he's gonna be leading the charge. So
and he's really
if they
honest
do
about
get in the
everything.
playoffs, this might probably be the MVP year for Burrow.
And
so.
like he's very honest about everything, and he's coming out to the media and saying we're not a playoff ready team, or so we're not a championship ready team.
No, they're not. They're not playing like it.
I'm glad he said that because maybe it'll get his defense to look in the mirror and realize how awful they are.
Yeah.
Because they are 32nd, I think, in yards allowed a game or something like that. They're one of the bottom teams.
And it starts at the line. I mean,
It does.
they got to get They got to get better pressure on the line. And then it moves back from there. Obviously, I mean, once the ball goes in the air, it goes out of the defensive lineman's hands. But you know, the linebackers in secondary, they got to step up as well. Moving on now to another divisional matchup in the AFC. This time we're moving out west to the Rocky Mountains of Denver, where the Broncos are 3-2 now on a 3-game win streak for that team.
Little Ferris Bueller, man.
And honestly, this is a very likable team. Very likable Broncos team.
I agree.
And a very likable quarterback. A Tier 1 guy.
Tier 1.
I think we are
out of
designating
bounds.
now. Bo Nix is a Tier 1 player.
Sure is.
For out of bounds now, which is huge. It's huge.
That's it. Honestly, that's more of a more honor than winning NFL MVP. Is if
I
you're
agree.
a Tier 1 guy. In
I
out of
agree.
bounds. Yeah.
Only a few guys have ever been up there. So, but this game 34-18 in favor of the Denver Broncos. Raiders fall to 2-3 in this game, and Gardner Minshew is just not the guy, and we knew that going into the season. And you know who else knew that? It was Devontae Adams. Big situation going on with him right now.
He wants out.
He wants out. He wants out heavy. This is different than the last few years that he's been kind of mulling around it. Doesn't have Derek Carr as kind of a safety net anymore to kind of help him with his decision making with the Raiders. And he's kind of on his own there. So
He's on his own island, and it's not looking good.
Yeah, potential destinations are the Bills. I see the Cowboys in there.
I see the Jets.
I see the Jets in there. I see the Saints. Yeah.
Hey, bring him on home to that little town in
Saints
Wisconsin.
Saints would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
But
I would not be a fan. Keep him in the AFC.
Regardless, they got a guy in Brock Bowers back in Vegas that can
touchdown.
play. That can play. But on the flip side for Denver, they also got a few guys that can play. Bo Nix, and Javonte Williams was probably, I would say, besides Bo Nix, the MVP of this game.
That's my waiver wire of the week right there.
He had 61 rushing yards, 50 receiving yards. Lil Jordan Humphrey also had 48 receiving yards in this game. But this Broncos team, obviously, I think Minshew helped them a lot with those 2 picks and set them up in great field position. But scoring 34 points in a divisional game is huge for this team and a big confidence booster for a young team who right now is in a wild card spot. Wild card spot after week 5. So who would have thought that for the Broncos? Sean Payton doing a great job there. And yeah, honestly, these two teams probably both going to miss the playoffs if I had to guess. But
they're missing the playoffs.
This Broncos team is something to watch and
For the future.
Something fun to watch. It's going to be kind of like that Colts team last year, if I'm assuming. But yeah, watch out for the Broncos.
I literally just thought about this probably 12 seconds ago, but I think it's a good correlation with that Broncos team. I feel like that Broncos team is in their honeymoon phase right now. You know, everything's great, everything's fun. They get a couple good wins, and then you kind of get, and I want to give a lot of credit to our Tier 1 guy, Bo Nix, for standing up to Sean Payton, because that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a rookie QB standing up to one of the most historic coaches, greatest coaches in NFL history or football history, Sean Payton, going up to him and screaming at him when he's yelling back at you. And Sean Payton's got to look at that. Maybe in the moment he was mad.
No, I think he was a little pissed after the game because he's the one who's like, yeah, he's got a little Ferris Bueller in that we gotta get out of him.
No, right.
But let him.
No,
let him
I'm
be
saying
the
obviously
man.
he's a little bit mad after the fact, right? I get that. Obviously, you don't
But he
want
did
your
say
player
that's
to
his love
show.
language.
You don't want your player to show you up, but right, he did say that. I think he's a guy that would appreciate a hard-nosed guy because he had guys.
Drew Brees would do.
Yeah, something Drew Brees would do. He had a guy like that. I mean, other guy, all those teams that they had down there in New Orleans were gritty teams that worked hard. And that's what he's trying to build there in Denver, and I think that's what he's building there with Bo Nix. They're going to be a pretty good quarterback coach duo, I think, for the future in Denver.
And I really like that he stepped up for himself because we saw the entire year last year, especially when he got benched, Russell Wilson sat there with his mouth shut. Didn't say a word.
Yep. So
Bo
I mean,
Nix
they need a vocal leader.
He's a captain for a reason.
Yep.
I was kind of surprised he got the captain spot, but he earned it and he showed it, especially in that game.
I always say we're not in the building. We don't know what goes on.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
whoever they name captain, they know better than us.
Exactly. And especially there they did. Going
Yeah.
on to a nice little rivalry out in Santa Clara. We had the Cardinals visiting the Niners in a hell of a game. Got to point that out. Kyler freaking Murray. All right. Didn't even throw the ball that far, 195 yards. He had a touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown. He had an interception. But James Conner, man, he is such a north-south guy. And he only put up 86 yards. But I just got to mention this guy because he got some crucial first downs for that team. Michael Wilson was the leading receiver, 5 receptions, 78 yards. But Moneyman Marv, he made a couple huge catches, especially first down catches in this game. Brock Purdy, he is looking to right back right now. Brandon Ayuk had his best game in a year. He had 147 yards. Jordan Mason, he got it done. 4 carries, 89 yards. What more can you ask? Well, I guess Brock Purdy throwing 2 picks is not what you want to ask. And they gave the ball back to the Cardinals within 2 minutes. Cardinals go down, march down. They're down 23-21. They kick a game-winning field goal, man. Great game from those Cardinals, who are really showing why everybody should be afraid of playing them. Especially, I'm afraid of playing them next week. We'll get into that in a little bit, though.
Moving on now to the Pacific Northwest. Seattle playing against the Giants in a game that both Gavin and I had the Seahawks winning this game.
And confidently.
And the Giants came in there and shocked them. 29-20, winning that game. And it didn't start off great for the Giants, let me tell you that. Seahawks started off with a punt in this game. And Giants come back, have an amazing 10-minute drive. 10 textbook drive from Daniel Jones. Like unreal. 16 plays, 80 yards. They get to the 1-yard line. First, second, third down, all get stuffed. Fourth down. Get up there. Tracy gets up there in the backfield. Goes up there.
He's a dog.
Fumbles the ball on the 1-yard line. 102-yard return for the Seahawks. It was Rayshon Jenkins picking that one up and returning 102 yards for the touchdown. And that is what gave Seattle the early momentum in this game. And honestly,
that's where I knew I thought it was over.
That's where you thought, yeah, right. That's where you thought it was over. Especially because the Giants come back down 3 and out in the next drive and punt. But after that, Daniel Jones really, really settled in. Had a great game. He's had a great few weeks. Basically in 3 quarters, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had 257 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, which is a really solid stat line for the guy. In Tracy, I know he had that fumble, but he came up big in this game. He had 129 rushing yards.
He was a dog this game.
And he set up a lot of stuff on that drive as well.
He's filling in the shoes of Singletary, but he's playing his butt off.
Right. And then on the outside, obviously with Malik Neighbors not playing in this game, you think Giants are kind of dead. But back from the dead, Darius Slayton. 8 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown.
This is the guy they thought they drafted.
Yeah, I mean, in he's playing really well. It's great to see a guy like that playing well. Eric Gray getting in there for 50 yards passing as well. Wan'Dale Robinson, 6 receptions, only 36 yards though. Still room for improvement with Wan'Dale, but you know he's that shorter route kind of guy. So he's just looking to pick up those first downs. Giants looking pretty good, 2-3 now. Seahawks on a 2-game losing streak, 3-2. Got to go back to the drawing board a little bit. But luckily for the Seahawks, Niners are struggling as well. The whole division's kind of struggling as well. So if they are going to struggle, good time for it. But got to get back on track here next week. Big game for them against the Niners on Thursday. So in Seattle. So huge game for them. Got to bounce back. See if Geno Smith writes back or not on Thursday night. And moving on to now your team playing against those Rams.
Yeah, so this was a bittersweet game for me. You know, a little bit more on the line this week for me watching this game. Big day, which means a big win. So that was.
And why was it a big day, Gav?
It was the 21st birthday.
21st birthday.
So it was a.
That's why the parlay was submitted that day.
That is why the first ever parlay was submitted. But Jordan Love, first half, hot garbage. I don't like sugarcoating things, and I won't sugarcoat them for Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers. I don't care who's behind center. I'm not sugarcoating. And I didn't sugarcoat with Malik Willis. He played his butt off. But anyways, Jordan Love first half was horrible. After he threw the worst pass of his life. Charlie was in the room, and he was holding back some laughs because it was hilarious. It was like if you're an
off
NFL
your back
fan,
foot 7 yards deep in the end zone, and you're only throwing it 5 yards out of the
Yeah.
end zone. Not a great look.
No.
No matter who you're throwing it to, especially because it went straight to the guy's chest,
it was bad.
and he just walked right in.
It was a 2-yard interception.
Walked right in.
Yeah. Pick six. His first ever pick six in his career. So I guess I can't be that mad. But I was furious in the moment. After that, though, 15 for 26, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he knows how to find Jane Reed. Let me just put that out there. Josh Jacobs, give him a big shout out. 19 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown. First ever touchdown in the green gold. Loved seeing that. He's the 4th most rusher in the league. I like seeing that a lot. Tucker Kraft, though, this guy, absolutely unreal. Gotta give him the ball more. I think he has, among tight ends, I think he has it was like the third, fourth most yards out of tight ends, not receivers, just tight ends. So if this is the guy we're gonna lean on, let's lean on him because he will put your body on the line for anybody. That's the offensive side of the ball, and it's a good win because this Rams team, I know they're beat up, and that's what everybody's gonna say. You still got Matthew Stafford back there. You still got Kyren Williams. Speaking about Kyren Williams, 22 carries, 102 yards. And I think I saw the stat. He has a touchdown in the past 10 games. Or it was something like that. He has a touchdown every game for the past 10 games. So that's unreal. He was a dog. He ate up that defense. And Jordan Whittington was the leading receiver, 7 receptions, 89 yards.
Dog.
He is
And
a
let
dog.
me tell you this. I think this guy's tier 2.
I think he's a tier 2
Let
guy.
me tell you why.
I think he is a tier 2 guy.
This guy, I don't know if it's the hair.
The hair
don't
makes
know.
it, dude. I love
I don't
guys
know
with
what
hair.
it is about this guy, but this guy, he's got a Puka feel to him. He's got just some guy on the street kind of feel to him. He probably picked him up on some rec field in L.A. Jordan Whittington, I don't know where he came from, but he's a baller. He's a baller, man. And if he can step up for this Rams team, especially with Puka out and Cup banged up too, that'd be huge for this team, especially because they're trying to still compete in that division.
Yeah. One last little tidbit about this game. 2 guys I want to point out on the defensive side of the ball. First is my guy Xavier McKinney. Thank you so much, Giants, for letting him walk to us because that was looking to be the greatest acquisition in recent Packers history since Charles Woodson. Because this guy is looking to be amazing. Through 5 weeks, it is looking great. It's got to point that out. It's 5 picks in the first 5 games with him. That is a NFL record tying since 1970. Hasn't been done since 1970. So that was really awesome to see. I love X. He's a dog. But there's one guy I got to rip up real quick. His name is Eric Stokes. And he was our first rounder a couple years ago. And, I have high hopes. His rookie year, he balled out. He played amazing. Since injury, though, Matthew Stafford knew right where to look because he got burnt every play. And he was nothing but it's like a lunch bag with some dog feces in there, and you light it up on a front porch. That's what he played like on Sunday. Disgusting game from him. Awful. Horrible. He's got to step up. Jair Alexander's got to get back. He's still tied for 4th in the league with picks with 2, and he hasn't played 2 games. So we got to get him back. That's a guy who's arguably a top 5 corner in this league. You need him, especially for this next game when you don't know if this team's going to pop off against you or not. So, especially against guys like Marv.
Yeah.
So, this is a big game coming up.
Huge game coming up. Gritty Cardinals team coming up for the Packers.
But good win for the
about
Pack.
that. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But right now, confusing team to talk about. 2 confusing teams to talk about.
Yeah.
On a Monday night game.
It was a Monday night game.
Monday night game.
Should have been a Monday night game.
Sunday night, Monday morning game. Whatever
Yeah,
this
the
was,
delay, yeah.
the official quote Sunday night game was between the Cowboys and the Steelers in Pittsburgh, a historic matchup.
Very.
And pretty cool always when these teams play. Any of these teams, or the Patriots, or Packers or Bears, any of those teams, historic teams. But Dallas winning 20-17 in this great game, a great game. And Dallas is a very confusing team, like I was saying. I can't really figure them out. I can't figure them out really to start this year, and especially Dak Prescott. He keeps throwing for over 300 yards every game. He threw for 352 in this game, but 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. It doesn't really help his team, but he's pretty efficient. It's kind of just he's a weird player. He's just a weird player to not to root for, but just to watch. Jalen Tolbert, 7 receptions, 87 yards and a touchdown. Enrico Dowdle, 20 carries and 87 yards rushing on the ground for them. And on the flip side, Justin Fields, he's a pretty good quarterback, man.
He just struggled throwing the ball.
Yeah, but 2 touchdowns in this game.
He did play well.
2 touchdowns passing in this game.
One little shovel pass to Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah, and
that was cute.
I was gonna mention that. So this was a great game overall, and it started off with what else would you expect but a 55-yard Brandon Aubrey field goal.
Yeah.
Followed off by a Chris Boswell field goal. So tied up 3-3 there. Brandon Aubrey responds, and then another touchdown by the Steelers. Moves the Steelers in front, and then we get to this great fourth quarter. Probably one of the best fourth quarters of the season so far, if not the best, for a primetime game especially. Rico Dowdle scored that 22-yard touchdown from Dak to go up 13-10 early in the fourth. And then we really had nothing for a little bit. There's kind of some punts in there, some
sloppy play,
some drives that just kind of sputtered out. And then you get that drive, which ended with that 6-yard shovel pass, like you said, to Pat Freiermuth from Justin Fields to move the Steelers up. And you think now, with less than 5 minutes left, Dallas gets the ball. You just need to stop with that great defense that you got, and you win the game. Dak Prescott had other ideas. Marched down that field, 20 seconds left. Jalen Tolbert, 4-yard pass from Dak to win the game and to move the Cowboys to 3-2 when everybody kind of wrote them off when they were 1-2, I guess. But still, huge 2 games for the Cowboys bouncing back here.
Especially in a tough place to play.
In a tough place to play against a tough defense in a clutch spot for Dak. Huge game in a division that is kind of on the up right now.
It is.
With Washington playing really well, with the Giants playing well.
Philly, we had to bye this week.
In Philly, obviously, they're still a great team. And for the Steelers now, losing that game, you're on a 2-game losing streak now. Kind of the same with the Bills. You just got to bounce back. I mean, you still got a great coach in Mike Tomlin. Justin Fields looks to be a great player.
You got to keep starting him. Keep playing him.
And that defense, like we've been talking about all year, T.J. Watt,
Cam Hayward, Mika Fitzpatrick, Patrick Queen, stacked defense.
Joey Porter Jr. I was trying to think of his name. Joey Porter Jr. He's been unreal at corner for them. This Steelers team is really good. Losing this game is tough, but got to go back to the drawing board. And now, moving on to the real Monday night game. Not the half Monday night game.
A little snippet. On Sunday, it was a combined 15 hours of football.
That was true. It was 15 hours of continuous football.
Yeah.
Which was, or with a little maybe break
delay
in between the 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock window. With that delay, with that huge delay. But still, it was football coverage still in there. And a great day overall. But now we move on to the Monday night game. Saints at Chiefs.
It was like a Monday night game.
It was like a Monday night game. And we've been kind of spoiled with these primetime games. We had great Thursday game, great Sunday game. I'm fine having a okay Monday game.
Yeah, I didn't really pay attention because the Yankees were on. So
Yankees were on. Yeah, I was more locked into the Yankees game, but I was still watching this game.
I was too.
Harrison Butker was their MVP.
Yeah,
4 field goals for him. And then 2 rushing touchdowns for the Chiefs. So a very unconventional game.
Welcome back, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, welcome back, Kareem Hunt.
That was crazy. I didn't even know.
102 rushing yards for the guy.
I didn't know he signed with him till that game.
Yeah. And then Mahomes. This is a weird game for Mahomes.
Got a little Mahomey in the end.
He did, but he didn't have a passing touchdown.
No,
it was weird. He had a pick. It wasn't a Mahomes stat line. He threw for 331 in a pick. And the Chiefs look good, 5-0. Defense is rolling.
Juju
Offense
looked
is
like a
rolling.
Steeler in this game.
Coaching staff's rolling. Yeah, Juju looked like 2018, 2019 Juju. 7 receptions, not 17, for 130 yards receiving. They win this game 26-13. And on the flip side, for the Saints, moving to 2-3 now.
Derek Carr looked horrible in this game. He
Yeah.
threw too many back footballs.
He did. I mean, he only threw
back.
one pick though, but
Yeah, but
a
he still
lot of
played
incompletions. A lot of tough incompletions.
Alvin Kamara only having 26 yards.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and in this division, like we were talking about with the Bucs and Falcons playing as good as they are, the Saints need to start winning some games.
Even if they're
And-
tough games.
And yeah, especially the divisional games that they have coming up. So Derek Carr's got to settle in a little bit here. And Alvin Kamara especially. I mean, 26 yards is unacceptable. I don't care what team you're
Yeah.
playing, especially if you're that guy getting paid that much.
Who's been playing so well this year.
Who's been playing so well, only averaging 2 yards a rush. Kind of just comes out of nowhere. Sure, he'll bounce back next week, but something to definitely monitor if that keeps going for Dennis Allen and his team. But now, I think we're done with week 5.
Yeah.
And we can push on to week 6.
But
And-
before we do,
But before we do, Gav's got his fantasy MVP and his real MVP.
so yet again, there are no repeats so far in Out of Bounds history. We'll start with the fantasy per usual. This guy was probably found on a waiver wire this week, and he was found with 24.8 points, 4 receptions for 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. That man is Tucker Kraft, fantasy MVP of the week, balled out when it mattered most. So congratulations, Tucker Kraft, from the Green Bay Packers tight end. But for the real MVP this week, this guy had 9 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. And if you're curious, because it's not fantasy, but it is 31.5 points, this guy's name's Darnell Mooney. He is my MVP of the week because watching that game, he was a game changer. He caught a ball in triple coverage on the goal line for a touchdown from Kirk. One of the best catches I've seen all year. Congratulations, Darnell Mooney. I am so glad you are not a Bear anymore. So now we're going to move on to our Week 6 picks.
Yep. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so starting off back with Thursday night, 49ers at Seahawks. It's going to be a pretty big game, especially in that division.
Huge game.
Gav, what do you think?
I got the Niners here. I don't really see the Seahawks having anything to stop that offense, even though they haven't been playing great.
Yeah, especially with the game that the Seahawks played last week at home against the Giants. I think this could be a bounce back game for them. But I think the Niners need to win more.
They do.
And I think they're going to be hungrier. And I got the Niners in this one as well.
Going on to the next game in London, Jaguars technically at Bears. I'm taking the Bears just because the Jags, I know they're great in London. They're going to be there for 2 weeks, but I don't know. They haven't shown me enough this year to pick them over the Bears.
Right, just the way that the Bears are playing right now. I know historically, the Jags do play well in London, and they're going to be there next week too.
Yeah.
So something to monitor next week for the Jags. But this week, I think I got the Bears.
Yeah, same here.
Bucks at Saints is the next game, and this is a huge, huge game. Going to be locked in on this one at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Huge game in the NFC South. Falcons are going to be probably watching this one too. Gav, who do you got in this one?
I have the Bucks, and I also think this is one of the most underrated rivalries in football, and especially between Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore. So I think with Baker Mayfield the way he's playing and Derek Carr the way he's playing, I'm going to take the Bucks here.
I'm potentially thinking about switching my pick here, but at the same time, I don't think, because the Bucks lost last week, I don't think that they're gonna lose again.
Yeah.
So
Especially
I'm gonna
with
stick
division
with my
opponent.
original pick and go with the Bucks. I don't know why I was thinking Saints, switching about going to the Saints. I think because they're home. I don't know. I feel like they need some
Jazz.
jazz. Yeah, jazz. Yeah. Great for New Orleans there.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think the Bucks. Actually, I'm gonna go with the Saints.
All right.
Just give me. If I'm thinking about them, I might as well take them. I'm gonna go with the Saints. We're gonna give us another swing game this week. There's only 3 swing games this week. And by the way, our records. We both went 7-7 last week in the picks, for week 5, which is all right. I mean,
It's
better
500.
than the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Getting back on track. I am now 40-38, staying above 500, just above 500, and Gav is 44-34. So I'm going to try to make up a few games on him this week. I won't be able to take the lead, but I'll potentially be able to get within a game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Saints in this one. And moving on now to an interesting matchup down in the DMV.
Yeah.
Huge game, big kind of regional rivalry between these two teams. We got Washington versus Baltimore.
You know, I really, really wanted to go Washington here, just the way that Jane Daniels is playing, but I don't think he's played a defense like this yet. And I'm not saying their defense is great, especially for letting up 38 points last week, but they're going to have a bounce-back game against a rookie quarterback, so I'll take the Ravens, especially because of that high-powered offense, the way Derrick Henry's playing himself.
Yeah, right. Yeah, especially Derrick Henry, but Lamar too. I got that Ravens team going into at home, winning that game against the Commanders. I think Daniels, this is the first game that he's really going to struggle in. I feel like the writing's on the wall for him. It's not a primetime game, or else I would really be all over the Ravens in this one. But at the same time, Baltimore's not an easy place to play, no matter what day it is. So I'm going to take the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, so the next game, we have a huge game for those Packers, and they are hosting the Cardinals. For the Packers now, I'm kind of feeling that since this NFC North is winning a lot, you have to win your games. They're all must-win games when you don't play within the division. So I'm going to go with the Packers here because they got their backs on the wall right now. And if they want to compete in this NFC North, they need to win, especially at home. And I'm going to take Jordan Love to have like his big bounce-back week in this game.
Yeah, definitely possible. But I do have the Cardinals in this game. I think that the way that Kyler Murray's playing right now, the way that James Conner's playing right now, I know Marv struggled last week, but the way that he's playing to start his career has been great. And that defense is flying around as a gritty defense, an underrated defense, just like we were talking about with the Texans, kind of overshadowed by their offensive firepower, everything they got over there, including Trey McBride on that and starting at tight end for the Cardinals too. I think Gannon's done a really good job with this team. I was a big skeptic, or what's it called? I was skeptical of Gannon before the season, and he's proved me wrong. And I think this Cardinals team's really good, and I think they're going to go into Lambeau, do what they did last year to Philly, and beat up on the Packers.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's going to be like a 10-point win.
Wow. All right, so we're going on to the next game. Colts are visiting a divisional opponent in the Titans, and the Colts have their backs against the wall as well. And if they need to get it done, and they need to get it done in Tennessee, I'm going to take the Colts because it's a rivalry, division game. Hard to pick division games, especially in the NFL. So I'm going to go with the Colts, though, because they need this win. This is a must-win for them.
Right, especially with AR coming back, like Ian was talking about earlier. Bringing AR in there just changes the offense a ton. It gives defenses a different look, gives them actually a run look that they can look at.
Hopefully JT's back too.
Yeah, hopefully JT's back as well. But still, adding AR in there just alone adds in that problem of a run. But I got the Colts as well. Wouldn't be surprised if Will Levis goes out there and just balls out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised
in a divisional game, especially at home. But the way that the Colts are playing right now, they definitely need to win, and they can move to 500 if they get this win this week. So they'll be motivated.
Yeah. So next game we have the Texans visiting the Patriots. And I'm really excited for this one because I think this is going to be like a nice beatdown for the Texans right here. So I'm going to take the Texans because I just don't think that offense can do anything against the Texans defense.
And actually, breaking news right here from Adam Schefter.
Oh, really?
Nico Collins, speaking of the Texans, he just got put on IR. He'll be sidelined for 4 games. That is a huge loss for my fantasy team and for myself emotionally. Wow.
That just took a hit on the podcast today.
I'm sad now. I'm really sad. I'm going with the Texans in memoriam.
I'm still going with the Texans, even if he's out.
That's huge, though. That just happened right as we were saying that. Nico Collins is out for 4 weeks. That's huge for the AFC and for the Texans.
Yeah. Diggs has got to step up.
Jeez.
My
fantasy team's in shambles
Tank
now.
Tank Dell's got to step up. Diggs, Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon's got to get back.
Yeah, Diggs will step up.
So...
I still got the Texans going into New England and beating them, even with the news that we just got.
That was crazy.
Moving on now to Browns at Eagles.
Browns have not shown me anything at all this year. I'm going to go Eagles.
Yep, Eagles all the way. I mean, they're opening up as a 9-point favorite, I think so. Over a team that we don't even know who they're going to be starting at quarterback. So I got the Eagles.
Going on to Chargers at Broncos. Nice division matchup. You never know who's going to win these, but
Never know.
I think Joe Mixon, even though the Chargers are coming off a bye, I think that, not Joe Mixon, sorry, Bo Nix, it's going to be a big game for the kid. I think he's going to find Cortland Sutton a lot. I think Javonte Williams is going to pick off where he left off last week. So give me the momentum. I'll take the Broncos here.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick against the Broncos right now with the momentum they got, but that's exactly why I'm picking against them. They have too much momentum, I think.
Okay.
And I think this Chargers team needs to start getting some wins, and I think they're going to start getting some wins. And this is a week where it's going to start. Divisional game on the road, big momentum boost for a team, especially winning on the road with a first-year head coach, with Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Herbert needs to get back on track a little bit. This is a good game for him to do it. I know he's been banged up, but good game for him to get back on. And Bo Nix, rookie QBs, besides, like the Daniels or the Strouds, they have tough games. And this is going to be one of those games, I think, where not a stifling Chargers defense, but one that can still make some plays on you and some guys that can still make some plays back there, including a guy like Derwin James. It's going to be a tough game for Bo Nix, and I think the Chargers are going to actually come out on top in this one.
All right. There's our last swing game.
That's our last swing game for the week.
So we got the Steelers at the Raiders. Another historic game right there. I think the Steelers are going to get it done, especially with Mike Tomlin's defense against that horrible offense. And I think this is going to be a really nice game for Justin Fields.
Yep, defense versus offense. He said it best, Mike Tomlin. The only thing that the Raiders really have going for them is that it's in Vegas.
Yeah,
but that's not even like really a crazy place to play.
No, it's not really.
So unless it's like a primetime late season game.
Where it actually
but
means something.
Got the Steelers in this one.
Yeah. Going on to Falcons at Panthers.
Falcons.
Stop
it. I mean, this Panthers team, every week, I'm sorry for Panthers fans, man. They're just so bad.
They're horrible.
It's bad.
They're going to be the first overall pick because they are horrible.
Probably. Unfortunately for them. Because they have some really good players over there, but it's just a tough
They're never
tough
going to
sled
get it
right
done.
now. We both got Falcons in that one. Lions at Cowboys. This is an interesting game.
This is my philosophy. I think with the Cowboys win last week and the Lions coming off a bye, because that game was so it was a long game for the Cowboys, and the Lions have a fresh week to loosen up, get going. The Lions are a good team. And I'm not picking against MCDC this week. I'm going Lions here.
Yeah, I'm going Lions too. And this game for me has written all over it. All over it. Both teams scoring 30 points.
Yeah.
It's going to be a shootout, and it's going to be in the 4 o'clock window. I'm assuming this is the game that Brady's going to get.
Oh, 100%. He always gets Cowboys.
Yeah. So this is going to be a good game, and definitely be locked on this one in the 4 o'clock window.
It's kind of weird seeing these two teams play each other. Mm-hmm. Specifically, because these two teams play on Thanksgiving every year.
Yep.
But they never play each
other. Two home teams, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird that they're playing each other, but it's not going to be on Thanksgiving. I mean, they've never done it. It's like the first or couple times.
I know what you mean, yeah.
But it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, right. But both got Lions in this one.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll be a shootout. That'll be a really fun game.
Yeah.
Bengals at Giants.
Because we got this game for the Sunday night.
Right.
So.
Bengals at Giants is the Sunday night game, and like you said,
this is a Thursday night game.
It is a Thursday night game. I got the Bengals in this one, and I think this is a game for Joe Burrow. Giants have a lot of momentum coming into this game, but Daniel Jones, at some point he's going to crack.
Yep.
At some point he's going to crack, and Joe Burrow's going to keep doing what he's doing. They're finally going to get a win. This is a game for that Cincy defense to get back on track too, against kind of a depleted New York offense. So seeing what the Bengals can do here would be pretty interesting. Hopefully getting their second win for them.
Yeah, everything you just said I'm going to agree with. I don't really have enough to say more, except for the pieces on that offense for the Bengals team. I think it's just going to outweigh the Giants defense, even though they've been playing good. So I'll take the Bengals. In a classic Monday night game, whether it was two teams that were horrible or two teams that are good now, this is a Monday night game right here. Bills at Jets. And with Robert Saleh and everything that's going on, I got to take the Bills. I wanted to take the Jets, but before yesterday's news, I was going to take the Jets just purely to go against, try to get a game or something. But I can't.
Yeah,
this week.
This is a game I don't like it. It's a game that it has Bills written all over it. And I love it, but I don't at the same time. I don't love all the pressure. But I do have the Bills in this game. I think this is going to be a big game for Allen in a divisional game. where he struggled in MetLife historically. So it's going to be a big game for him to prove himself, and a bigger game, I think, for the receivers to prove that Allen doesn't need to be the guy to do everything every game. We can do some stuff too. I think they need to have some pride in that, and not show a little bit more effort, but show like they care a little bit more, and show that they want to be the leaders on this team.
Yeah.
By the way, some breaking news also coming in. Not really breaking news as much as what we just had, but Devontae Adams is going to be out this week. So another thing for not going for the Raiders. Yeah. It's apparently a hamstring.
Oh, yeah.
Hamstring.
Oh, his hammy's tight.
But I'm sure they just haven't found a trade yet. I think that's the
yeah, I think that
the
is
bottom
it.
line. The teams on a bye this week are the Dolphins, Chiefs, Vikings, and Rams. Some pretty entertaining teams on some
undefeated
byes.
teams on the bye.
Yeah.
So.
And then, I mean, the Rams and Dolphins, they have some entertaining fantasy. This is a big week for fantasy.
Yeah, and the
bye.
Rams needed it, and the Dolphins needed it.
Yep.
So.
I mean, you got guys like Tyreek, Jefferson, Kyron Williams, Travis Kelce. They're all out this week.
Mahomes.
It's going to be a big week for fantasy.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of a weird week, I think, for the NFL overall, but a good week.
A good
So,
week. I think it's going to be a good one.
Let's go to let's have fun with week 6.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see you in week 7. But for now, make sure you follow us on our Instagram.
At Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot in between every single word.
Yes, there is, Gavin. You got anything?
Let's have a week.
Let's have a week.
Let's have a week.
Go Bills.
Go Pack, go.
Go Sabres. Go Yankees.
Go Rangers, go Yankees.
Yeah, it's a big week.
Big week.
Big
We
week.
are officially almost in the sports horizon, or equinox. Almost in the sports equinox.
Sports equinox.
But we're not
almost.
quite there.
But we will be also getting to NBA and NHL soon.
Yeah, now that they're starting to ramp up.
Now they're starting to ramp up, especially NBA when it gets out of the preseason.
Yeah.
But yeah, NFL right now we're locked in, and we'll be ready for week 7 next week.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for following along, guys. Thanks for listening, and have a day.
Have a day. Let's go.